Hello, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. So today's video is finally the review that I was planning to do for a so long time about reading around the world. So it's a project that I have for my channel and for myself to read some books that they are set in a specific places and drink a drink from those places. I have a subscription coffee that I didn't get it for a long time, and anyways, it doesn't need to be a coffee. It can be tea, it can be some sort of drinks from a different location, from a different country, and then find a book that is going to be set on that place. So this time we have Mexico or Mexico, and it took me a long to find the book just because it's a lot of books that they are set in Mexico and especially in the borders between United States and Mexico, and they talk about migration and drugs and violence, and I was trying to find a different topic about it, and the most of it they are around those, and I'm not saying they are wrong topics or they are wrong things to write about. It's just I want to find something different. I kind of find another book, not the one that I'm going to talk about, that it was more like a non-fiction, and I kind of get scared to read about it because it was about the city, and I will try to put the picture of that book that I was planning to read and I hesitated. I still thinking about it. Maybe eventually in a long future probably I will read it, but for this particular review I choose one book that is a little more light and is popular. You probably saw so many reviews about it. And let's start first with the coffee. I'm drinking my coffee. I choose this cup because my doggies are in the bed. So in some way, they are with me right now. And I'm kind of using the excuse to make the videos because right now the house is quiet, so I can do a couple videos right now. Anyways, the coffee is really good. I'm going to leave some of the information that they sent me. I have this postcard and I have this other information that is saying from where it came from, the coffee, and all of that about the coffee, and it came on this beautiful package. I love the colors, I love the design, it's really nice. So I'm going to leave that information on the screen so you can read about the coffee. It's really good. And talking about Mexico in general, we can say it was the date of independence, or when Mexico got independent from the colonial time. It was on 1821 in September. Is bordered to United States, and it has a big story of migration and drug producers and all of that, especially on the north side. They also have a very like a deep culture, Azteca culture, like Maya culture, and you can see it in their food, in their traditions, and especially in the small towns. So Mexico is a big country with a lot of diversity of cultures, and it has a lot of history. It's way too much to talk about it in this small review, but Mexico is rich in history and culture. That's all I can say about Mexico in specific. Talking about the book that I choose, the one that I get is God. I can't say the name all the time. I struggle. Gods of Jade and Shadow. Let's talk about the author that wrote this book, Silvia Moreno Garcia. She born in Mexico. She's a Mexican Canadian author, but she was raised in Mexico. She was raised with her parents. She born in 1981. And her parents, they used to be a journalist, they used to work in a radio, they were big readers. She always said that her mom is a big influence on her because she used to read a lot of sci-fi and horror stories. Also, she said her grandma is a lot of influence too, but she used to tell her stories about herself and about the culture, all like voice to voice, because she doesn't know how to read or write. And eventually in 2004, Sylvia moved to Canada to finish her master's degree in science and technology. And over there, she got involved in the journal, and helped to publish and edit short stories. Eventually, herself participated in a contest with a short story. Later on, she tried to work like editing anthologies and short stories and tried to find the way to have her own print and publish these kind of stories and anthologies. Eventually, she published her own novel, and that is Signal to Noise. And later on, we see her publishing more books, and she became famous because of Mexican Gothic. Almost everybody knows about this book. That's the book that made her famous and make people to dig about her other novels. J City, I'm sorry, Gods of Jade and Shadow. I don't know why I struggle saying the name of this book. Was published in 2019, like a hardcover and an ebook. And later on in 2020 was published like a paperback, and British edition came for the first time. What the book is about. It's about this girl named Casopia. She lives with her mom and her grandfather in her grandfather's house. They treat her really, really bad, and she's trying to move away from that place. And one day she opened a trunk and she finds something that changed her life. She also met a god of death, and is a god in a Maya culture. Together, they went in a journey around Mexico, and they travel in small towns and big cities, and eventually they even get to California. But the story is about the two of them on this journey. What I like about the book in general, I think I like the representation of the mix old costumes with the religion, with the Catholic religion especially. It's a representation that I think it works not only for Mexico, also works for other countries in Latin America, because most of our countries, they have that mix of cultures, like the old costumes from the Maya, Azteca culture, or in my case, Aymara, Quechua, and other ones, with the religion, with the Catholic religion. You can see it in the food, you can see it in their festivities, in their holidays. All that mix is there. So it's a good representation in this story about that kind of mix situation. I also like the representation of the patriarcha way to see the things, where the man is the one who decides what is going to be and what is going to happen, and no questions mark. And especially in that time, in the 1920s, that it was like definitely nobody argue about that aspect. So that patriarchal view is well represented in this story too. And I also like how she tried to explain a lot of things of the myths and the beliefs about the Maya culture and their gods and how they supposed to work. She explained it really well. She tried to give us an idea how those myths works. Things that I didn't like, I think it's not that I didn't like, I couldn't connect with the characters a lot. I liked the story, but I couldn't connect with them for some reason. And then also, I think the story is very slow pace. You don't have ups or downs, and you don't have those moments that you get like excited and you're expecting to see something is going to happen. And since it's a historical fantasy setting, you're supposed to have a little more action, and I couldn't find it. It was very slow pace for my taste. Also, one thing that it bothered me, no, because of the book, it may be something more personal, is that I always have the necessity to go and double check whatever she was describing, it's real or not. Those things kind of break my reading. And since it's a fantasy, I feel that I shouldn't be worried if these aspects are real or not. I should just go with the story, go with the flow, like we're saying. So that it kind of bothered me a little bit. You can tell that she make a good research, trying to find out everything about the myths and the Maya culture. And I think she tried to represent it and describe it in the story. And I think she did a really good job on that. Her writing is nice. You can tell that she always mix genres, so the writing is good. Overall, I will say the book, I like it. It's not my favorite. I think is, even if it doesn't say, I think the audience for this book is a younger audience, not myself. And probably that's the reason I cannot connect with the characters, because I'm getting older and I cannot relate with them. So that's probably the reason I cannot connect with the story, and that's probably the reason many of my younger adult stories that I've been reading, I cannot like them 100%. It's always something missing. So probably that's a weak point on my part. And then, like I said, like the story overall is good. What she was trying to say, I kind of understand it and I kind of see it. And she did a good job on that representation of the myths and especially the mixed culture situation thing. And also, how I think she did a good job representing how mixed race in Latin America is a view. And I think that's it about the book itself. In Goodreads, it has 61,771 rating, only 15,020 uh, 244 people actually write a review for it. In a story graph, that is another place where you are right now tracking what you're reading and it's becoming more popular. You have 9,788 reviews. They don't separate the reviews and who read the book, because usually when you go into the book, you're already telling that how was the character development, how was the story, and all of that. So in some way, you already reviewing the book with more detail. That's why they don't have those two difference. But on both of them, they have a 3.9% like rating or stars, 3.9 stars. So that means that most of the people, they are in the same boat of me. We like the book, we like the story, but something was missing to make it to the 4 star, to make it over the 4 star rating. um, in my personal taste, I would recommend it. It's really good, especially for younger audience. It does show you different face of the Mexican culture. You can get to know a little bit about their myths, about the and how they live, how they do their holidays, how that kind of culture is not just the Mexican. We have a lot of in the Latin America area too, and how the patriarchal way to see how the social status works. So all of those representations, they are really good, and for that part, I would recommend it. If you like fast-paced stories, this may not work for you. And like I said, even if it's not uh, uh, saying that it's a young adult book, I feel that it's targeting to a younger audience, younger than myself, especially. So overall, I did like it. I do recommend it. I was happy to read it. I think it make I get what I needed to get from the book, and I read something that it was not about drugs and not about migration and violence. If I'm interested to read more about the author, I think I will. Um, Not too much Mexican Gothic. I don't know. I don't think I feel to read that one because maybe it's the hype. A lot of people talk about it. I'm more interested for the first book that she wrote and the last one that she just published that I cannot recall right now the name of that one. Those sounds or looks like more like a horror, I think. I feel like those are more interesting than the Mexican Gothic. Mexican Gothic, I don't feel to pick it up. I guess it's the hype that kind of killed my desire to read that book. And that was it. This was Jade, again, Gods of Jade of Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And that was my pick for Mexico this time around. And if you like the video, thumbs up. If you want to know if I post another video, ring the campanita. And thank you for watching. Bye.